You see, progress is not just about running fast, it's about running in the right direction. Many people work hard all their lives, but still feel stuck. Why? Because they're busy fighting people, instead of fighting their own inner enemies. The truth is, success is not a destination, it's a discipline. And discipline means recognizing what silently stops us from growing every day. So let's uncover these 5 hidden enemies that steal our energy, block our focus, and delay our destiny. If you can conquer them, no force in the world can stop your progress. Procrastination, such a simple word, yet such a powerful thief. It silently walks into our lives, takes away our dreams, and leaves behind only regret. Have you ever told yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," and that tomorrow somehow never came? We've all done it. We delay things that matter, not because we don't want to do them, but because we wait for the perfect time. The perfect mood, the perfect day, the perfect opportunity. But my friends, that perfect moment doesn't exist. The greatest illusion procrastination creates is the belief that we have time. We say, "I'll start when I'm ready." But the truth is, nobody is ever truly ready. The people who succeed are not the ones who waited for the right time. They are the ones who started and made the time right. Every moment we delay, our dreams fade a little. Every excuse we make, our energy drains a little. We tell ourselves, "It's okay, I'll begin next week." But next week becomes next month, and next month becomes next year. And suddenly we're left wondering, where did all that time go? Let me tell you something from experience. Procrastination doesn't always come wearing laziness. Sometimes it comes wearing disguise. It looks like planning, researching, thinking more. It makes us feel productive while keeping us stuck. You might think you're preparing, but if you're not moving forward, you're standing still. When you postpone something today, you're not just delaying the task, you're training your mind to accept delay. And when the mind learns delay, it forgets discipline. That's why so many talented people never reach their full potential. They don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never start. Think about it. The greatest achievements in the world didn't begin with grand plans. They began with small, imperfect actions. A writer didn't finish a book in one day. They wrote a single paragraph. A runner didn't complete a marathon in a moment. They took the first step. Progress is not about perfection. It's about momentum. When you act, you build momentum. When you delay, you build resistance. Every time you act immediately, your brain rewires itself. It becomes stronger, sharper, more decisive. But every time you say, "I'll later," your brain learns to surrender, to settle. That's the dangerous comfort procrastination offers. It gives short-term relief, but long-term pain. There's a beautiful saying, "One day or day one, you decide." The truth is, every day we wake up with that choice to keep dreaming or to start doing, to wait or to move, to postpone or to progress. So ask yourself, what is one thing you've been delaying? One goal, one project, one conversation, one habit. Don't wait for the right time. Start now, because now is the only time that truly belongs to you. The future is uncertain, the past is gone. But now is alive. Remember, progress doesn't begin with the big leap. It begins with the small step you take today. And if you take that step every single day, one day, when you look back, you'll realize those little steps became the biggest transformation of your life. So don't let procrastination win. Start today, start small, but most importantly, start as fear the invisible chain that holds millions of dreams hostage. It's not the fear of darkness that stops us. It's the fear of what we as cannot see inside that darkness. Every one of us has felt it. The trembling before taking a risk, the hesitation before speaking up, the tightness in the chest before stepping into the unknown. Fear whispers in our ears as, what if you fail? What if they laugh? What if you're not good enough? And in that whisper, it convinces us to stay exactly where we are. But let me tell you something. Fear itself is not your enemy. Fear is energy. It's a message. It says, you're standing at the edge of growth. The problem begins when we mistake that message as a warning to run away instead of an invitation to rise. The greatest achievers in history felt fear, but they didn't let it paralyze them. They walked with it. They learned to dance with their discomfort. We often believe courage means the absence of fear. It doesn't. Courage means doing it despite fear. Every time you step forward with your heart racing, you're building a muscle. The muscle of inner strength. It's the same reason a baby learns to walk. They fall, they cry, they get up again. Not because they are fearless, but because their desire to move forward is stronger than their fear of falling. The sad truth is that fear doesn't stop us from dying. It stops us from living. It keeps us from trying new things, from meeting new people, from taking chances that could change our lives. Most people spend their entire life inside a cage built by fear, thinking it's a safe shelter. But that cage is not safety. It's a slow death of potential. Fear is clever. It disguises itself in so many ways. It says, be realistic. It says, maybe it's not the right time. It says, and what if they don't support you? And every time you listen, fear grows stronger. It becomes your master. But when you challenge it, when you say, I'm scared, but I'll still do it, fear begins to shrink, because fear only survives in silence. The moment you face it, it loses power. Remember, fear feeds on imagination. It thrives on the what ifs. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if it goes wrong? But have you ever asked the opposite? What if it works? What if it turns out better than you ever dreamed? What if you're stronger than you think? When you shift that inner question, everything changes. The same mind that once created fear starts creating faith. We all have two voices inside us, one that doubts and one that believes. The voice of fear says, stay safe. The voice of growth says, step forward. Which voice you feed decides the quality of your life. The one you feed becomes stronger. If you keep feeding fear, it grows louder, heavier, and heavier until it chains your every decision. But if you feed courage, you begin to feel lighter, you begin to move, you begin to be alive. Let's be honest, fear never completely disappears. Even the most successful, confident, and spiritual people feel it. But the difference is, they don't wait for fear to vanish. They act while fear screams inside them. They understand that fear is a sign that something meaningful is ahead. If it didn't scare you, it wouldn't grow you. Think about it. The first time you spoke in front of a crowd, your heart was pounding. The first time you started something new, you doubted yourself. But look where those moments led you. Growth is always uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is proof that you're expanding. So instead of saying, I'm afraid, try saying, I'm excited. Because the feeling of fear and excitement are almost the same. The only difference is the story you attach to it. One story says, I might fail. The other says, I might fly. You can't stop fear from knocking on your door, but you can decide whether you'll let it move in, When fear comes, acknowledge it. Yes, I see you. Then, take one step anyway. One small action is more powerful than 1,000 fearful thoughts. Because movement kills fear. Every step you take in faith pushes fear one step back. So, my friends, the next time fear tries to stop you, don't fight it, face it, just smile at it. Tell it, thank you for warning me, but I'm still going. Because every great dreamer who changed the world had one thing in common. They were scared, but they moved anyway. Fear will always be a part of the journey, but so will courage. And every time you choose courage over fear, you write a new story for your life. A story where fear no longer leads, but follows. A story where you don't just survive, you truly alive. Comparison, one of the most silent destroyers of peace and progress. It begins so quietly, we barely notice it. We scroll through someone's success story, see someone's car, their house, their relationship, their body, their achievements, and something inside whispers, why not me? We don't mean to feel it, but we do. And that one tiny thought starts to poison our self-worth. Suddenly, what we have seems too little, and who we are seems not enough. The truth is, comparison is an endless trap. You can never win it, because there will always be someone doing better, earning more, looking happier, achieving faster. And the more you look at them, the more you lose sight of your own blessings. It's like running a marathon while staring at the person next to you. You end up tripping over your own feet. Life is not a race against others, it's a journey within yourself. When you compare, you're not only doubting your timing, you're doubting your destiny. You're saying, their path is better than mine. But everyone's journey is written differently. The person you envy might be fighting battles you can't even see. The smile you admire might be hiding struggles you wouldn't want to carry. Just because someone looks ahead doesn't mean they are happier. Everyone blooms at their own pace. The sun doesn't compete with the moon. They both shine when it's their time. Comparison steals the two most valuable things you have, your focus and your gratitude. When you keep looking at others, you can't see your own growth. And when you forget what's already in your hands, even the smallest blessings feel like burdens. That's why many people who seem successful still feel empty. They're constantly measuring their worth by someone else's ruler. The world we live in today makes it even harder. Social media has turned life into a display board. Everyone shows their highlights, the vacations, the awards, the smiles, but rarely the sleepless nights, the failures, the tears. You see the picture of someone holding a trophy, but not the pain behind it. You see the success, but not the sacrifice. And yet, your mind starts comparing your behind the scenes with their highlight reel. No wonder we feel inadequate. We're comparing realities that aren't even real. The moment you stop comparing, you start breathing again. You begin to appreciate what's in front of you. You start noticing your progress, no matter how small. Maybe you're not where you want to be yet, but you're also not where you used to be. And that's something to celebrate. Every step forward, no matter how tiny, is still progress. Comparison is also cruel because it kills your joy in others' success. When you're too focused on, why not me, you forget to celebrate, good for them. But joy multiplies when shared. When you celebrate others sincerely, you invite more happiness into your own life. Because the energy you give out always finds a way back to you. Sometimes we compare not because we envy others, but because we've forgotten who we are. We forget our uniqueness, our journey, our purpose. A fish will always feel stupid if it compares itself to a bird. You can't judge your worth by someone else's talents. You were made to shine in your own way, in your own time. If you truly want peace, start comparing yourself not with others, but with your past self. Ask, am I a little wiser than I was last year? A little calmer than I was yesterday? A little more grateful than I was before? That's real growth. That's real success. Because life is not about being the best, it's about being your best. And here's a beautiful truth. When you focus on your lane, life begins to open doors that were meant only for you. The universe doesn't reward comparison, it rewards authenticity. You attract more when you're genuine, not when you're trying to be someone else. So, the next time you feel that sting of comparison, pause, take a deep breath, remind yourself, I'm on my own path and it's perfectly okay if it looks different. The flower that blooms later in the season isn't less beautiful. It's just blooming at the moment it was meant to. Don't let comparison dim your light. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, learning what you're meant to learn, becoming who you're meant to become. The moment you stop comparing, you don't just find progress, you find peace. And when peace enters, progress naturally follows. Negative company, it's one of the most powerful influences in our lives, yet one of the easiest to overlook. The people around you, the ones you talk to, laugh with, and spend your time with, they are shaping your thoughts more than you realize. Their energy slowly seeps into your mind, and their mindset becomes your mirror. Whether we like it or not, we become like the company we keep. If you sit around 5 negative people, you will become the 6th. If you walk with 5 ambitious souls, you'll start to rise like them. Our environment doesn't just affect our mood, it defines our mindset. We often think negativity is harmless, just a few complaints here, a few gossip sessions there. But negativity is contagious. It spreads quietly. You hear someone constantly criticize others, and soon you start seeing faults in everyone too. You spend time with people who always complain about life, and your gratitude slowly fades. You hang around those who doubt everything, and suddenly you start doubting yourself. What was once confidence turns into hesitation, and what was once clarity becomes confusion. That's the silent power of negative company. It doesn't just affect your emotions, it reprograms your thinking. There's an old saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It's true. The people around you are like the soil in which your life grows. If the soil is rich with encouragement, positivity, and purpose, you'll flourish. But if the soil is filled with negativity, jealousy, and fear, even the best seed won't bloom. It doesn't matter how talented or hardworking you are. If you surround yourself with toxic energy, it will drain you faster than effort can save you. Sometimes we hold on to negative people out of loyalty. We tell ourselves, but they've been my friends for years, or their family, I can't just walk away. But loyalty should never mean sacrificing your peace. You can love people from a distance and still protect your energy. You don't have to cut them out of your life completely. Just limit how much of your time and heart they occupy. Because every conversation you have is either feeding your faith or feeding your fear. Every voice you allow in your head is either building you or breaking you. Negative company often disguises itself as comfort. They'll say, I am just being realistic, when they're actually spreading doubt. They'll laugh at your dreams and call it a joke. They'll criticize your efforts and say, I'm only trying to help. Be careful. Some people don't want to see you fail, they just don't want to see you go further than them. When you grow, it reminds them of their own stagnation. Instead of cheering for your rise, they'll pull you back to where they feel comfortable, the level of average. The truth is, energy is real. You can feel it when you walk into a room. Some people leave you lighter after talking to them, while others leave you exhausted. Start noticing that difference. The ones who lift you up, who speak life into your dreams, who remind you of your worth, those are the people you should hold close. Because good company doesn't just make you smile, it makes you grow. And it's not just about friends. It's also about what you consume, the music you listen to, the shows you watch, the content you follow. All of it is company. If your environment constantly fills your mind with negativity, comparison, or fear, your thoughts will reflect the same. So be intentional about what you feed your mind. Protect it like you protect your home. You wouldn't let garbage pile up in your living room. Don't let it pile up in your head. There will be times when you'll feel lonely after walking away from negative people. That's okay. That space of silence is not emptiness, it's healing. It's where you'll rebuild your strength, where you'll hear your own voice again. Loneliness with peace is far better than togetherness with toxicity. You can't rise if you're constantly surrounded by those who want to keep you on the ground. Remember, no one can fly if their wings are tied down by the weight of others' negativity. You are meant to soar. But to do that, you must choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with those who believe in you even when you doubt yourself. People who celebrate your wins without envy and correct you without pride. Those who remind you of your purpose when you forget it. And when you find such souls, protect them, cherish them. Because good company is rare, they will not only help you grow, they'll remind you of who you are when the world tries to make you forget. So look around you today. Who speaks into your life? Who drains your energy? Who inspires you to be better? Your answers to those questions will tell you why your life feels the way it does. Choose wisely, because your company is not just part of your journey, it is your journey. Self-doubt, the quietest yet most powerful enemy within, it doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't stop you with walls, it traps you with questions. Why? Am I really good enough? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready yet? And slowly, those questions become chains. Chains that hold you back from stepping into the very life you're meant to live. Every one of us has felt it. Standing before an opportunity and hearing that small voice inside that says, "You can't." It's strange, isn't it? We can cheer for others, believe in their dreams, and push them to achieve more. But when it comes to ourselves, we hesitate. We shrink. We tell ourselves a story that we're not capable enough, not smart enough, not deserving enough. And that's how self-doubt wins. Not by defeating us in battle, but by convincing us never to fight. The saddest part about self-doubt is that it often hides beneath logic. It sounds reasonable. It tells you to be realistic. It reminds you of your past mistakes, your past failures, and uses them as evidence that you shouldn't try again. But the truth is, your past doesn't define you, it refines you. Every failure was simply a lesson in disguise. Yet self-doubt loves to replay those moments like broken records, making you believe that what once went wrong will always go wrong. You see, self-doubt doesn't appear when you're doing nothing. It appears when you're about to do something great. It's a signal that you're standing at the edge of growth. The moment you try to rise higher, your mind, out of fear, tries to protect you from potential pain. It says, don't risk it. But what it doesn't realize is that avoiding risk is the biggest risk of all. Staying small, staying safe, staying silent. That's how we lose ourselves long before we fail at anything. Many people wait for confidence before they act. They say, once I feel ready, I'll begin. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. It's like waiting to feel strong before you start working out. You gain strength by doing it. You gain confidence by trying. Every small act of courage chips away at the stone of self-doubt. The first time, your voice shakes. The second time, your hands tremble less. The third time, you begin to feel lighter. Because now you've proven to yourself that you can. It's important to understand self-doubt is not always your enemy. It's a sign that you care. It means you want to do well. But when it starts to control your choices, that's when it becomes dangerous. Because self-doubt doesn't just steal your dreams, it steals your peace. It makes you question your worth again and again until you start believing that you were never enough to begin with. Think about how many ideas died in the mind of someone who doubted themselves. How many songs were never written? How many businesses never started? How many words of love never spoken? Simply because someone thought they weren't ready. The world is full of unspoken dreams, not because they were impossible, but because someone didn't believe in themselves enough to try. You cannot silence self-doubt completely, but you can learn to talk back to it. When it says, you can't do it, say, I'll try anyway. When it says, what if you fail? Reply, then I'll learn. When it says, you're not enough, remind yourself, I'm growing, and that's enough for now. Confidence is not the absence of doubt, it's the decision to move forward despite it. Sometimes, we doubt ourselves because of the opinions of others. Maybe someone once told you that you'd never make it. Maybe you failed once, and they laughed. Maybe you heard, you're not talented enough, and you believed them. But here's the truth. Their words were never your reality. They were just echoes of their own fears. Don't let someone else's limitation become your definition. People who doubt you are often projecting the doubt they carry within themselves. The only person whose belief truly matters is you. If you believe you can, you'll find a way. If you believe you can't, even the easiest path will seem impossible. The mind is a powerful servant but a terrible master. Train it to work for you, not against you. Feed it with positive thoughts, uplifting voices, and hopeful reminders. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your strengths, not your shortcomings. And when that voice of self-doubt returns, and it will, don't fight it with anger. Smile at it. Understand it. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then walk past it. Because growth begins on the other side of self-doubt. Every time you take a step despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite the tremble in your hands, you weaken its grip a little more. The people you admire, the successful, the confident, the wise, they're not free of doubt. They've simply learned not to let it control them. They've built faith stronger than fear. And you can do the same. So don't wait for that voice to disappear. Walk with it, but don't let it lead you. Let your actions be louder than your fears. Let your faith be stronger than your excuses. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the version of you that doubted, that hesitated, that questioned, was the same version that gathered the courage to begin. And that courage, that quiet, trembling courage, was the moment your real progress began. Lack of consistency, it's one of the most underestimated enemies of progress. Everyone starts strong. Everyone feels excited in the beginning. The gym feels new, the goal feels fresh, the dream feels alive. But as days pass, that excitement begins to fade. What once felt easy now feels heavy. The results don't come fast enough, the mind gets distracted, and slowly the commitment begins to die. Not because we don't have potential, not because we lack ambition, but because we stop showing up. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting every day. It's not about big leaps. It's about small steps taken again and again, even when no one's watching. It's easy to be motivated for a moment, but it takes character to stay disciplined for months, even years. The truth is, motivation gets you started, but consistency keeps you growing. Without it, your goals remain just words written on paper, fading in the dust of good intentions. Think of a seed. You water it today, and tomorrow it looks the same. You water it again the next day, still no change. But if you stop watering it because you don't see instant growth, you kill what could have become a tree. Life works the same way. You may not see progress every day, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Growth takes time. The roots grow silently before the fruits appear. But impatience makes us stop just before the breakthrough. The reason consistency is so powerful is because it builds identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a message to your brain, Faye, I can trust myself. And every time you break that promise, you weaken that trust. That's why so many people lose confidence. Not because they failed, but because they stopped believing their own words. When you say, I'll start tomorrow, and don't, your brain remembers. When you say, Vef, I'll exercise every day, but quit after a week, your brain remembers. Over time, it begins to believe you less. And when your own mind stops believing you, it becomes harder to believe in anything else. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. You'll have days when you don't feel like it, days when you fall short, days when you doubt yourself. That's okay. What matters is that you return, you keep showing up, you try again. Because progress doesn't come from perfection, it comes from persistence. The small things you do daily, reading for 10 minutes, writing a page, practicing gratitude, learning something new, they all compound into something massive over time. We often overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do in a year. You may not notice the change after a week of effort, but stay consistent for a year, and you won't even recognize yourself. Consistency is like water dripping on a rock, slowly, quietly, persistently, and one day it leaves a mark. That's how transformation happens. Not overnight, but over time. There's a certain beauty in consistency. It teaches you patience, resilience, and self-respect. When you keep going despite boredom or failure, you grow stronger inside. You realize that true power lies not in doing great things once, but in doing small things daily with great commitment. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Everyone dreams, few persist. But there's another truth. Consistency becomes easier when your why is clear. If your purpose is strong, your discipline follows naturally. When you forget why you started, consistency feels like a burden. But when you remind yourself of your vision, it becomes your second nature. Every time you feel like giving up, ask yourself, why did I begin? That simple question can reignite your fire. Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they quit too early. The gym member who stops after 2 weeks doesn't fail because exercise doesn't work. They fail because they didn't stay long enough to see it work. The student who gives up studying doesn't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they stopped believing in small daily effort. Life rewards the consistent, not the occasional. Sometimes we wait for inspiration to act, but discipline means acting even without inspiration. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation for it. You do it because it's part of your routine. That's what your habits should become: automatic, unquestioned. When good habits turn into reflexes, your life begins to move forward effortlessly. And yes, consistency also means forgiving yourself when you fall. Many people quit because they miss one day, 1 week, one deadline, and they think it's over. But missing one step doesn't erase the journey. The key is to start again immediately, not next week, not next month. No. Every time you restart, you're rebuilding strength, you're reasserting your commitment. There's something sacred about showing up when it's hardest to do so. When you're tired, when no one applauds, when no result is visible, and you still keep going, that's when real transformation happens. The universe sees effort. It rewards consistency in ways you may not even expect. So, if you ever find yourself wondering why things aren't moving faster, remember, consistency is not about speed, it's about direction. Keep walking, keep trying, keep showing up. Every small effort counts, every repeated action compounds, and every day you stay consistent, you're quietly building the life you once prayed for. The truth is simple. Anyone can start, but only the consistent finish. The race isn't won by those who run fast, but by those who don't stop running. So, don't stop. Even if it's slow, even if it's hard, even if no one notices. Stay consistent. Because one day, when the results finally arrive, you'll look back and realize that the power wasn't in one giant leap. It was in every small step you took, every single day.